Tanya reminded us that yesterday when we finished our Zoom, I asked you to try number 5 on page 76. So we're going to start with number 5 on page 76, and we're going to see who was able to solve this all on their own without any of my help. Who would like to share how they drew their picture for number 5? Tanya, go ahead. And I'm going to put mine on the screen so that you guys can check your work and follow along.
So I did I did four dots in each group, and I got.
Okay, so we need to skip count by 4s. How many columns did it take to get as close as you could to 43 without going over?
10.
Okay, so we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Okay, but my quotient, I'm sorry, my dividend is 43. So I have 40 discs. What do I do with my extra 3?
3, and then you put 3 down as three remainders.
Okay, well, we're not going to call them remainders right now. Right now, we're going to call them just, here's our 40, and we have 3 more. If you didn't do this one for some reason, make sure you're doing it now. So now that we've taken our 43 discs and put them into groups of 4, now, Tanya, how do I find my quotient?
The quotient is how many groups there is.
Okay, so I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tanya, did you get 10 for your quotient?
Yes.
And then what are these 3 hanging out here?
The 3's are remainders.
Very good. So up here on your number model, it should read 43 divided by 4 equals 10 remainder 3. Or 10, it should look like 10 R3. Great job, Tanya. Did you do that one all by yourself?
Yeah.
Good job. Who would like to share their area model for that problem? What did you draw for your area model? Nevaeh, go ahead, honey.
So you draw a rectangle.
Okay.
And on the short side is a 4. And then on the longer side is 10.
Okay, so I take my divisor and I put it on my short side, and then I take my quotient and I put on the long side. So Nevaeh, when we find area, what's our formula?
Length times width.
Okay, so if I do 4 times 10, that gives me what?
40.
So right in here, I take my length times my width, and I have 40 units already, but we need to have 43. So what do we do to represent those extra 3?
You add 3 to 40.
Good, so I'm gonna put 3 extra boxes right here. So then to check, you would take your 40, and just like Nevaeh said, you add that 3, and then you should have your dividend. So our dividend is 43, our divisor is 4, your quotient is 10, and remainder is 3. So we're able to use all 4 of those new vocabulary words. All right, give me a thumbs up if you had number 5 correct all by yourself. Does anyone have a question about maybe a mistake that they made and I could help explain it to you? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you have a question. If not, we'll go ahead and we're going to turn to today's homework, page 77. And we'll get started. We're going to do one of these as a warm-up, and then we'll get into some groups to do the next page. All right, Colin, do you want to warm up with number 1 or number 2?
Number 1.
Okay, so let's have Bella Watkins. You're going to help me create an array for the equation 24 divided by 4. So we're going to be making, my first column is going to have how many discs in it?
4.
So I'm going to be counting by 4s. So Bella, we're going to count by 4s until we get as close to what number without going over?
As close to 24.
Okay, so Bella, so far I have how many?
4.
If I add 4 more, what do I have?
8.
4 more.
11.
Try again. 4, 8. If you're not sure, it's just like 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. What's 4 times 4?
16.
I can keep going, so I'm getting close. What's 4 times 5?
20.
Getting really close. What's 4 times 6?
25.
Oh, try that again.
24.
24. And that's where we want to stop. So now, Bella, how will I figure out what my quotient is?
Circle the number, circle the dots.
Okay, so I have 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, 6 groups. What's my quotient, Bella?
6.
My remainder?
0.
How would I finish this? Read this equation with an answer for me.
24 divided by 4 equals 6 with the remainder of 0.
Very good. And when there's no remainder, we don't even have to write that.
Okay.
Briley with a B, can you tell me how I would use multiplication to check my answer? I'm going to put here to check. What do I do? Unmute yourself. Pull your camera down so I can see you. With your soft voice, I sometimes rely on reading your lips. Pull your lid down. Where'd you go? You're talking to you and you disappear. Okay, Izzy, do you remember how to check? What do you do to check?
See if you multiply the quotient and the I forget what the 4 is.
The number you're dividing by is the divisor. So we're going to multiply the
Oh.
quotient by the divisor. So what would my number model be, Izzy?
4 times 6.
What is 6 times 4?
24.
Does our product match our dividend?
Yes.
Very good. Briley, take your computer and pull your lid down so I can see you. Just like, there you go. There you go. Okay, Briley, try to unmute yourself. Okay, now we're going to draw this equation using an area model. So can I show this equation 24 divided by 4 with one rectangle? Think back to all the problems yesterday where we had to have that extra rectangle. Every time we had an extra rectangle, what did that represent? Which part of the equation? Here we had an extra 2, another extra 2, an extra 3. So each of these small rectangles on the side represented what part of the equation? Briley, all of the extra rectangles represented what part of the equation? The remainder. So do we have a remainder here?
No.
So do we have to, can we show this with one rectangle?
Yes.
Okay, so if I want to show this equation, that means essentially I need to show a 6 by 4 rectangle to give me 24. So how would I draw that? How many squares down should I go?
6.
Okay, so I'm going to go down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many squares over will I go? Please make sure you're leaving your cameras on. 4. Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, Briley, a 6 by 4 area model gives us what? What's 6 times 4? What would our total area be?
24.
24. Yeah, and we're going to put units squared there just so we make sure we're putting units. And that matches our dividend. Very good. Okay, so we did a homework problem from last night as a warm-up and this one. Now we're going to flip over to page 78 and we have 4 problems that we're going to solve. And we're going to get into some breakout groups for these. So we are going to only be solving one at a time. So when you go to your breakout group, you're only solving number 3 right now. So Brian, what is the problem for number 3? What's the equation?
44 divided by 7.
Very good. So you're going to try drawing an array to get an answer, and then you're going to draw an area model. And then we'll come back and check, and then you'll get a new partner for the next question, okay? Does anyone have any questions before I put you guys into some groups? Feel free to unmute yourself if you do. All right, these are going to be really small today. We're going to go about 2 people, 2, maybe 3 per group. All right, your rooms are open. Go ahead. Did you guys get started yet?
We are.
Okay, well, you have to be speaking to each other when you're working together. So which part are you on for number 3?
We're just getting started.
All right, go ahead. I'm just going to sit here and I'll help you if you guys need help.
Problem, I couldn't hear. It's loud.
It's 44 divided by 7.
Okay. Please.
Okay, so how are you going to draw the array? How many
7.
dots?
7 going down until you get to 44.
Okay, so go ahead and put your 7 down. And then figure out how many groups you're going to need to have.
I found a key. This is probably the key to that.
Hey, you guys aren't speaking at all. Come on, okay, so far you're at 7. What comes after 7?
14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49. So you could only go to 42.
Do you agree, Briley? You have to talk nice and loud because there's a lot of background noise.
When you have to add the second two, like two more.
Mm-hmm.
So how many groups do you have? What's your quotient?
We have 6 groups with 2 left.
Okay, so Briley, what's your quotient? Briley, what's your quotient? I can't hear. I don't know, Carson, can you hear her? I don't know if it's because my headphones are so sensitive, but all I can hear is the background noise.
No, I can only hear the background noise.
Okay, so Briley, you're gonna have to talk louder into whatever microphone you have because it's really noisy there and we can't hear you. So what's your quotient? How many groups do you have?
6.
Carson, do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so Briley, we have 6 as our quotient, and then what do you have left over?
2.
So that would be your what?
Remainder.
Do you agree, Carson?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna hop to another group. Now you have to draw your area model, okay?
Okay.
Two.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good? What do you still have left to do? Which part are you on?
We're
The quotient and the remainder.
yeah, we're about to do like the area model.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just gonna listen in, okay? In case you need help.
So we have to draw a rectangle. And then and then we have to put the 7 and the 6 on the side. Then it'd be 7 times 6 equals 42. And then 42 plus 2 equals 44. Yeah.
You can
Maria, who is your partner?
Finn.
Okay, so between the two of you, which one of you wants to explain the array model and who wants to do the area model?
I'll do the area model.
Okay, Maria, will you do the array?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. We'll wait for everyone to get back.
what we're looking for here. So we're trying to figure out what fraction of the songs.
I can hear Mr. Is Bella doing math by you?
Yeah, I'm
I
trying
can
to.
help. That's okay. A good thing you have headphones, and it's funny though because I can hear Mr. Men's 1/3 of the remaining.
Okay. Can you hear him? Is it like loud? Can you? Or no? Can you hear him a little bit?
Yeah, I can hear you though when you speak over top of him. Okay, so Maria's going to explain. I'm going to share my screen. and then I'm going to write down what she says. So Maria, for 44 divided by 7, how did you and Finn go about drawing your array?
This will help us
so
identify and work through this
we
particular
did
problem. So for hip hop,
7
put
times 6.
inside of 5.
So
out of 8
7 down and 6 like
Okay, so you made 6
So
groups.
5/8 is hip hop.
yeah.
4,
But I
5,
need to
6,
figure out
7.
what is
1, 2,
1/3 of the
3, 4,
remaining
5,
songs.
7.
What fraction represents the songs that are still remaining? So looking
Okay,
at the model
yeah.
that
We have,
drawn,
so
what
Maria, I
fraction
want
of
you
the
to count by
remaining
sevens
songs?
for me. So we have 7,
Mason,
7, 14,
great.
21,
So right above here where we have remaining songs,
28,
let's
Mhm.
write the fraction 3/8. So
35,
we now have our
Yep.
problem that we're looking
and,
to solve. So it's not as simple as just
42.
looking at the numbers of the problem.
so I need
You have to
44.
interpret
I only
what
have
it is
42.
or
What did you do
problem.
with
And
your 2
there may be
remaining?
Sort of that tricky,
we put them
thought
in the same.
process. So drawing a picture
Okay,
always
so if
helps
I go through and I
looking at that
circle my whole groups, Maria,
We want 1/3.
I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 6 groups. So 6 is my what?
And that is equal to
Quantity,
R&B.
or I forget.
R&B stands for
Look at the
rhythm and voice.
example above. Look at these vocabulary words and see if you can figure out the 6 groups that I was able to circle. My whole groups. What is that? What part of the answer? What's that called?
So we can actually use what we already have here
Cool.
to
I can't really pronounce it that well.
Spell it for me.
let's just color in those three
Q
eighths, the ones that
U
we
O
picked on.
T I E N T.
Quotient.
Quotient.
So this here is
Try
our
again. Quotient.
3/8.
Quotient.
Very good. Okay, so I have 6 groups, and then what is this extra 2 here? What's that called?
Remainder.
And we're trying to
Very
figure out
good.
what is 1/3 of that section.
All right.
So
So
what I need to
Finn,
do next,
now you're going to tell me about my area model. So I'm going to draw my rectangle, and how do I label it?
The side is 7. No, the side.
You want this side to be 7.
Yeah,
Okay, and then what's this side going to be?
6.
Okay, look at my picture though. Do you see anything wrong with that? This side should be longer then, right? So if you want to draw it that way, I know it's not perfect, but you just want to make sure that if whatever side's longer, you're actually labeling it longer. Okay, so I have my long side 7, my short side 6. So 7 times 6 equals what?
42.
Okay, now what do I do?
You put 2 more blocks on that side
Okay,
for the remainder.
so then how do I get my final area?
Add 42 plus 2.
Equals?
44.
Very good, and that matches our dividend. So now, Finn, I want you to read this equation with the answer, please.
44 divided by 7 equals 6.
Not just 6.
6 and remainder of 2.
Very good. Don't forget to do this part, boys and girls. Here's your answer. 44 divided by 7 equals 6, remainder 2. All right, how do we do? Give me a thumbs up if you and your partner got that one right. All right, I don't see any thumbs downs. Good. Okay, so the next one, 34 divided by 6. So now you're going to get a new partner this time. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to recreate these rooms. There you go. Rooms are open. How you guys doing?
Good.
Did you get started yet?
Yeah.
Okay, how many dots do you have in your row?
We have 6.
6.
Okay, 6 in a row. So did you skip count by sixes yet? Let's see how close we can get to 34 without going over. So there's 6,
6.
12.
12,
16, I think.
no, just count up more, count up 6 more, 12,
12.
13,
18.
14,
18.
6, 12, 18, 18 plus 6,
24.
24, keep going, 24 plus 6,
28.
no,
30.
20, 30.
30.
And can we do what's 30 plus 6?
36.
Oh, but we can't go to 36. That's too much. So let's back it up. So how many groups should we have?
5.
5. So in your book right now, you're going to draw 6 discs and put 5 of those groups. And then we'll see how many. So Noah, we said 6 times 5 was what?
35.
No, 6 times 5. Count by
6.
5 6 times.
Times 5. 6. 6. 5.
If you have your calculator,
30.
okay, but our number's 34. So in our final column, how many dots will we have? How many discs?
This will be 6.
No, because we have,
25.
no, listen, we have 5 groups of 6, okay? Do you have that drawn? So you have 30 on your paper. We need to have 34. So how many more do we need to draw?
4.
4. So
4
put
more.
4 in your last one. Good. All right. So you guys should be able to figure out your answer now. I'm going to hop to another group. How you guys doing?
Good.
Did you find a quotient yet?
Yeah,
What was your quotient?
we got 5.
And do you have a remainder?
4.
Okay, when we get back to our main group, which one of you would like to share the array and who wants to share the area model?
I can do the array. You're okay with that, Soren?
Soren, will you do the area model?
Yeah. All of mine are just area model.
Well, you got to do this one too. You have to do both of them.
Oh.
Do it now. Pick up your pencil. Miss Gabine, how's your group going?
Good. I was with Tyler in the first group and then Trace in the second group.
All right. This time we have Soren and Tessa. They're going to share their area model and their array with us. Miss Gabine, was there who was absent today for math at school? Corday?
Just Corday. Hayden came in late,
Okay.
but he was there. And Mrs. Anchor said that he kind of started catching on when they were working in partners.
Okay. All right, we have Tessa and Soren. Tessa, I believe you were going to do the array. So go ahead and tell me what you drew for 34 divided by 6.
Okay, so we started with the first row, and then that was 6.
Okay, so we're skip counting by 6s.
And then we did another row, and then that was 12. And then we did another row, that was 18. And then we did another row, and that was 24. And then we did another row, and then that was 30. So
So
then
Tessa, we're trying to get as close to what number without going over?
34.
Okay, so we're at 30 now. Can I make another group of 6?
No,
So how many would be in my last group?
you would have to do the 4 dots.
Very good. So now, using this picture, how would I get a quotient?
You would do the first group, and then the second group, and then
Okay,
the
so
third.
now I'm going to look at all my whole groups of 6, since 6 is my divisor, and I'm going to count these. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I count this one as part of my quotient?
No,
Why not?
because it isn't like the same as the 6, and
It's not a whole group of 6. Very good. So Tessa, what is my quotient?
Your quotient is 5, and then your remainder is 4.
Very good. Okay, Soren, what did I draw for my area model?
Okay, so you draw a box,
Okay.
and then you just you make 5 lines in the box.
So I'm going to label one of these 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do I lay? So my quotient is 5. What should I label this side?
4.
Okay. So my quotient goes on one side and my remainder goes on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I don't want anyone, don't erase if you have something different. Just hold up for a minute. Okay, Soren. So if I have 5 times 4, my length times my width, what does that give me?
Your length times your width is 20.
Okay, so this should match my dividend. When I look back at my problem, 34 is my dividend. It doesn't match.
Oh,
Okay, so let's try something else.
6.
Okay, so I had 6 equal groups. So where does my divisor go? Brian, do you know where my divisor should go? Could you help him out?
Where the 4 goes?
Okay, so I'm going to replace this 4, Soren, with a 6. So Soren, if I take my divisor, which is 6, times my quotient, what's 5 times 6?
5 times 6 is 30.
Okay, and we have a remainder of 4. So if I draw 4 extra boxes on the side, and then I add 30 plus those 4 extra boxes, what's my total?
34.
And then, so Soren, look over here. What's my dividend?
34.
Do they match?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're good to go. So Soren, finish this equation for me. 34 divided by 6 equals what?
It equals 5.
Not just 5, because we have a remainder.
9.
No, not 9. Look here. Use this information right here. So my quotient is my answer. So I have a whole number of 5. What else do I need to add?
4.
Just like this?
Oh,
Next, my answer is not 54. My answer is 5 with a what? It means left over. What's this word?
remainder.
Remainder. That means what's left over. What's my remainder?
4.
4. So Soren, read this whole equation for me.
34 divided by 6 equals 5
with also a remainder of 4.
Very good. All right, this next one we're going to do together. Sophia, I haven't heard from you yet. Read the equation, please.
37 divided by 6.
Which means we're going to skip count by what?
6s.
Until we get as close to what without going over?
37.
Okay, so I have 6 times 1 equals 6. What's 6 times 2?
12.
Times 3?
18.
Oh, I can tell you're good at your facts, Sophia. You've been practicing. 6 times 4?
24.
6 times 5?
30.
6 times 6?
36.
6 times 7?
42. So
Uh-oh.
that would be over. So
Good, we got to stop.
Yeah.
So we have 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. I need to get to 37. So what do I do, Sophia?
Put a 1 or like a one dot. Yeah.
1 extra. Okay, I'm going to give everyone a minute to get this drawn in your journal. You're drawing 6 groups of 6 with 1 left over. Noah, you drawing this? Come on, I don't see that pencil moving. I'm glad you're watching, but remember, got to write it in your... Tyler. Answer me.
Yes,
What are you doing?
I lost my pencil, then I went to go look for it.
Do you have one?
Yes.
Okay, let's get down to business now. We don't want to watch you walk around your room. We need to be prepared. You should be drawing right now 6 groups of 6 with 1 left over. Peyton, can you help us use this array to find a quotient and possibly a remainder?
Okay, so what we're going to need to do is look at how many rows there are. Which there are 6.
Okay, so I'm going to count. So I have 1 group of 6, 2 groups of 6, 3 groups of 6, 4 groups of 6, 5 groups of 6, 6 groups of 6.
Quotient. That'll tell you that the quotient is 6.
Okay.
And then the remainder is 1.
Good. This guy hanging out's 1. Okay.
To find out what the quotient is. Depending on how many rows there are of the number, then that's the amount, that's the quotient.
Good, and rows usually go this way, so let's call these columns. Almost like if you're in an auditorium, this would be a row of seats, you know, like when we would have assemblies, your row goes across. So we'll call those columns, just so you don't get confused. But that's a great tip. Your full columns is your quotient. Kind of almost starts with the same sound, column quotient, even though it's a different letter. Okay, so our quotient is 6, our remainder is 1. Nevaeh, if I draw my area model, do you know how to use, now I'm gonna put my answer here, 6, remainder 1. Now, see if you can use the numbers in this equation to label an area model for me.
So on the shorter side you put 6, and on the longer side you put 6 too.
So actually it could look like a square, couldn't it? Because same side, same sides, the same length. So what do we do in the middle? Because our divisor is 6 and our quotient is 6, so we have the same.
You do 6 times 6 equals 36. And then you add 1.
Here's my remainder. So I take 36 plus 1 equals?
37.
So Nevaeh, does this answer match my dividend?
Yeah,
If they match, what does that tell you?
you got it correct.
Very good. All right, one more, Riley Roach. 46 divided by 8. In this problem, what are we skip counting by?
8.
Okay, I want you, everyone at home right now, to figure out how many columns I should have. So 8 times what is going to get me as close to 46 without going over? You can draw it. You can do math, mental math. Once you get your answer, I want you to hold it up on your fingers. Or if you have a whiteboard handy, you can write it on it. So if I need 2 columns, hold up a 2. If I need 10, hold up 10. I'll give you this hint. It's not going to be over 10 because 10 groups of 8 would be 80 and 46 is way less than 80. So think 8 times what? 8 times what's going to get me as close to 46 without going over. Izzy, what's 6 times 8? I'm sorry. Yeah, what's 6 times 8?
48.
Oh, you're over. The number's 46. So think again. It's not 6 because 6 times 8 is 48.
Oh, I thought it was 48. I thought that was what the dividend was. Sorry.
46. So think. Colin, you're holding up 5. What's 8 times 5?
40.
Okay, so Colin, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 8. 5 times 8 equals 40. How many extra do I need to add on?
6.
Okay, so my array's starting to get sloppy. Those look more like sprinkles. Maybe I have donuts on the brain, or maybe a ice cream sundae with some sprinkles instead of arrays. So now, Colin, I'm going to make, how many whole groups of 8 do I have?
5.
So 5 is my what?
Quotient.
Very good. Ilea, what do I still have left in my array?
6.
So 6 is my what?
Remainder.
Now I have a question, Ilea. What if I had, for this same problem, is it possible for me to have a number like 9 as the remainder or 10?
No.
You're correct. Why couldn't I have 9, 10, 11, 20, 21 as a remainder?
Because there's only 8 in a row.
Very good. So if I have a number in my remainder that high, that means I could make another group. So my quotient would get larger. Okay, Maria, I want you to read this equation for me with the correct answer.
46 divided by 8 equals 5. 5.
Now if I check this, 5 times 8 equals 40. So 5's not a correct answer. What are we missing?
Remainder of 4.
No.
Oh, I meant
5 remainder what?
remainder 6.
6. So now, Maria, how are we going to, before we draw our area model, I want to check this using an equation. So how would I use this and multiplication to check? What would I multiply?
You would multiply 5 times 8.
Equals?
40.
And then what am I going to do with my remainder?
You add it.
Good. So what's 40 plus 6?
46.
And this matches our, do you remember what this is called? The number we start with? Starts with a D.
I knew it started with the D, but I forget it.
I'm going to give you 2 options. Is the number that we start with the dividend or the divisor?
The dividend.
Very good. The number we divide by is the divisor. Good. Okay, Trace, I'm going to draw my rectangle here. How would I use these numbers, this equation, to label an area model? How would I label my length and width?
Gotta do 8 on the side.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that on my tall side, my long side. So to find the area, we're taking our divisor and we're multiplying it by what?
5.
Very good, by our quotient. So what is 5 times 8, Trace?
40.
Okay, we need to get to 46. So what else would we add on to this area model? What's the leftover?
6.
Okay, so I'm going to add 6 cubes on the end. So what do we do with this and our 6 extra?
Gotta do 40 plus 6 equals 46.
And this 46 matches this 46. Trace, do you remember what that's called, the number we start with? I'm going to give you 2 options. Is this the dividend or the divisor?
Dividend.
Good. Be brave. It's okay. Even if you're wrong, I don't care. I'll help you. Okay, so dividend's what we start with. The number that we divide by is the what?
Divisor.
Good. And then our answer is the, use this to help. The answer is the what? Quotient. Say that again. Very good. And then this is the
remainder.
You got all 4 of them. Great job. All right. Okay. So you guys are really doing well with the area model. Our next step is going to be to teach you, your parents, your grandparents, everyone's probably going to be so happy next week because you're going to learn good old-fashioned long division. Have you heard of long division? No? Your parents will. That's how they were probably taught to divide. That's how I was taught to divide. So we're going to work on that all next week, especially since you guys are off on Monday.